and powerful pharaoh of Egypt, Cleopatra. What would be the worst way to die? Being bitten by a poisonous snake or being stabbed by your own hairpin? This is just one of the intriguing questions about the famous queen of Egypt, me. I was one of the most famous queens that ever lived. Cleverly, not only was I a great queen, but I was also known for my exquisite beauty. My full life and tragic end as a fabulous pharaoh has made me one of the most fascinating women of all time. My childhood, my famous husbands, and my intriguing death are what makes me so memorable after over 2,000 years. My name is Cleopatra VII, and I was a remarkable woman. I was born in Alexandria, Egypt in 69 BC. When I was young, I did not attend school. I was taught by tutors in a palace, and I was a favorite child. I learned at least 5 different languages, which included Latin. I also learned mathematics, astronomy, philosophy, and more. I was impressive and significantly beautiful. I was the first in my dynasty to speak Egyptian. In Greek, my name, Cleopatra, means father-loving goddess. I was delightfully polite. Traveling, I departed to Rome with my father when I was 9. While I was gone, my mother took the throne but died mysteriously afterwards. My family figured out that Berenice IV, my sister, poisoned my mother because she wanted the throne. Because of that, Berenice IV was put to death by my father, Ptolemy XII. When I was 18, my father died and I took my place as queen. Unfortunately, a queen couldn't rule without a husband. So my brother, Ptolemy XIII, who was only 10 years old, became my husband. But we didn't get along very well. I sent him away because I didn't want him to get in the way of anything. After I ordered Ptolemy away, he sent me away, and he took his place as queen. I was a remarkable woman. Ptolemy, my brother, was furious because Caesar wanted to take the throne. Craving control, Ptolemy didn't want to lose control over Egypt. Caesar wanted to meet with him. When this news came to me, I had an idea. I must meet with Caesar, I pleaded to Pothinus, the person taking care of me. Your Majesty, it is far too dangerous, came his reply. Please, Pothinus, there must be a way. Maybe there is, he stroked his beard. I'll be right back. He came back with a rug. You'll be able to hide in here, he told me. So I hid wrapped inside the rug when Pothinus carried the rug to the palace. Who goes there? A guard shouted. A gift for Caesar from Queen Cleopatra, answered Pothinus. A gift? Caesar asked, appearing in the corner. Very well, bring it up to my room. When he opened the rug, I rolled out. Please protect my life, Caesar, I begged. Of course, my queen, but please allow me to help you up, Caesar said. And that is how it began. We grew very close, and a few months later, we had a son together named Caesarion. A few months later, Caesar conquered Gaul. On March 15th, 44 BC, Caesar was assassinated by 60 senators in a surprising conspiracy. I took my place as queen with my son, Caesarion, who was only 3 years old. Evidently, I was concerned for Caesarion, who was without a father, but he was an extremely good ruler at only 3 years old. I knew that he would be a good king. A few months later, Mark Antony, a Roman general, summoned me to him. I arrived on a golden ship, and when we saw each other, we knew we should be together. We got married, and soon I had twins, Alexander Helios and Cleopatra Selene. After the twins, I later had a third child with Mark Antony, Philadelphus. Mark and I got along very well. Ptolemy was now even more furious. Mark and I had a desire to take over the world, which was difficult because that included Rome. Octavian, Caesar's nephew and adopted son, would not give it up. Mark and I knew we would not win, so we sadly went our separate ways to secure our safety. Rushing into my tomb, I brought all the gold in the castle and kindling wood. I had enough wood to set the whole city on fire. To protect Mark, I sent a message that I was dead because I thought it would be safer for him. Mark was devastated when he received the message, and he thought if Cleopatra is dead, then I'm dead. With that, he grabbed his sword and pierced himself with it. He was just hanging on to dear life when another message arrived. Please disregard the last message. I am fine. He begged for a few of his men to take him to me. Before they got to my tomb, I had already received a message saying Mark was dead, so I wouldn't let him in. I thought it was a trick. My hairdresser and lady-in-waiting saw him in an upper window and pulled him up with a rope. They brought him to me, and he died in my arms. I sent a message to the Romans telling them where I was, and I asked to be buried next to Mark. When they got the message, they thought, what does that mean? Hurriedly, they got to my tomb and discovered me in front of them, lying on a couch. Some stories say that I was killed by a poisonous snake, but actually, just as my hairdresser was placing a wreath of flowers on my head, I took my own hairpin, which I had filled with poison to be prepared for anything, from the shelf and stabbed myself with the 2 points. The 2 pierces also looked like a snake bite. My hairdresser and lady-in-waiting took the hairpin from my head and stabbed themselves as well. We all died together. Sadly, the desire Mark and I had not come true. I will not be triumphed over, Cleopatra tells us how determined and strong of a leader she was. Cleopatra was an Egyptian princess and was highly educated. Cleopatra hurried to meet with the commendable Julius Caesar, who fell in love with Cleopatra. Interestingly, in spite of all the danger in Cleopatra's life, she was killed by her own poisonous hairpin. Beneath all her outward beauty existed her cunning intellect, which set her apart from all those around her. The most significant fact about Cleopatra is her death, because I think it is interesting to be killed by your own hairpin. Cleopatra was astonishingly beautiful. Cleopatra, who had been a favorite child, served as queen for 21 years. She became queen at 18 and died on August 12, 30 BC. At 39 years old, Cleopatra, the last pharaoh of Egypt, was buried next to Mark Antony in the royal honors, but their tomb has never been found. Da, da, da!